An event called Gathering of Nations in Albuquerque is North America's largest powwow. But after 43 years, organizers are saying that 2026 is going to be the last year for their event. So according to the Canadian press, there has been some criticism over the years that perhaps organizers are capitalizing on Indigenous culture, that it's become perhaps more commercialized with prize money for things like dancing and drumming competitions. So the question is, does the commercialization of these events actually undermine the cultural significance? So we're going to start this conversation with you, Vanessa. What's your take on this?
No, I don't think it does necessarily. You know, a lot of powwow dancers and artisans, they earn their money throughout the summer months. It's seasonal work, they perform, they do beadwork, they sew, and having this sort of stage where there's a lot of participants who come, attendees, this is a way in which they can make money. And so for a lot of dancers, they go every weekend to a different powwow, and this is how they sustain their home life, their family, and how they introduce their children into this way of life.
Yeah. I mean, it's a curious event because we're not clear about why exactly that they're deciding to stop it. And I understand that it is a non-Indigenous person who started this particular one. So I wonder if there's some connection there.
43 years ago,
43. Yeah. So it's been going for a while. They say, the people who were interviewing this article were saying this just sort of run its course, was the impression that it was given. I guess I had the same thought as you, though. Like, I don't see why you wouldn't want to make the artisans and the people involved make as much money as possible. But then I thought of something like the Pride Parade, which is not a cultural event, although I guess it is a cultural event to some extent. And every year, you know, what started out as this smaller protest, as it's grown, which has been wonderful for recognition, but at the same time, every year you hear the same complaints, which is it's become too commercial, it's too much based on money, it's watered down the meaning behind it. So I don't know where that tipping point lies.
Yeah, but that's always the purists, always are the ones with those types of complaints. They're like, yeah, it's better when it was like grassroots. But I think, you know, it's inevitable. The commercialization is inevitable because as something grows, of course you want money because, as to your point, all of the people who will benefit from that money. I think what's important, what people should really focus on is who's in charge. Are they really serving the community that this event is based on? And the money that's coming in, because there's always money, are you being transparent about that money, where that money is going, and is it going back to the community? I think that is the main concern that people have with commercialization. And I am actually, like, I'm gutted for this community because I know that events like this, most people will just go and enjoy the day, but this is almost like a living classroom to learn about the food, the music, the culture, the cultural recognition, everything. And the idea that this is going away is so sad. And, you know, we have a big event. I'm Caribbean, and we have a huge event, the Caribbean Carnival Festival. It's changed names so many times. If I got it wrong, forgive me. Right? It started in the early 60s, and it was a way for us to celebrate our culture. And now it's a huge event with millions of dollars coming into the city, tens of thousands of people coming in. But what people don't know while they're enjoying it is that it's gone through a lot of turmoil about who's in charge, where the money goes. And I think there are a lot of people who take it for granted. But if it ever went away, I think we would really feel that hurt. So that's why I'm so hurt for this community.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I ultimately, I think, lean on the side of, like, I'm flexible about this. And I think powwows are a great spot to, like, also show that they can evolve and they can change because they're a newer tradition for Indigenous people. Like, people see them because they're public facing and they're open to the public as, like, the cultural event in Indigenous communities. But they're only about, like, 100 years old, which relative to other events is actually very, very young. And so with that, I think there's room to say, we can try new things and we can bring different people in and we can expand it in certain ways. And so I don't think we have to be very rigid about what a powwow has to look like, is I guess what I'm trying to get at here. But at the same time, to Cynthia's point, I do agree that, like, where there is a line and that we have to be careful of is, like, the thing with Pride Parades is when they started to, for example, take in money with banks who were actively harming, like, queer people in other countries or who were not actually giving money to the thing, and they called it, like, pink washing, right? And so now in Indigenous communities, there's this ongoing phenomenon of, like, what we call orange washing, right? Is, like, we have to make sure that when we're doing things that we can take in money and we can use that to bolster our artists and to our communities and all of those things, but we also have to make sure that we're critical about that and doing it in, like, a really ethical and you know, thoughtful sort of way. So is it possible? Yes.
Yeah. More transparency.
Yeah.
Hey, you, come a bit closer. We've got so many more must-see interviews, spicy debates, lifestyle tips, and pop culture moments. So subscribe to our channel by tapping the logo below and don't miss out.